What better way to cap off an annual patriotic holiday feeling the most unpatriotic by watching Eddie Murphy going back to his action roots, aka the movie that cemented him a full-on box office superstar 40 years ago? Well, if you're interested in seeing me go back to the era, then I might just have to flick for you. Hello podcast listeners and movie flicker pickers, and welcome to the Pic-a-Flic podcast, a recurring series of film and sometimes television reviews / recaps, and is all handpicked by me, your host, the Western Wonder. As mentioned, I will be reviewing Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, the first film coming from the beloved franchise in 30 years, and for good reason that is. After many years of development hell, Eddie Murphy returns to the small screen in the role of Axel Foley. Netflix backed this project up with a reported budget of $150 million. Now, as of late, Mr. Murphy hasn't had a good track record with post Mr. Church Fair. While Dolomite Is My Name was a terrific movie, Coming to America was horrific, You People was mid, and Candy Cane Lane was tolerable for family viewing but not really memorable. So the question stands, does Murphy still have the juice? That'll be for us to find out. Strap in, folks, we're headed back to Beverly Hills for this one. Fast forward to many years following the events of a recent entry no one likes to talk about, Axel Foley is still the same street-smart cop that we all know and love. A chase involving some criminals infiltrating a locker room during a Detroit Red Wings game ends up with Foley leaving destruction in his wake, causing his longtime partner and nowadays chief Jed Friedman to retire. Shortly afterwards, Foley gets a call from his old friend Billy Rosewood, who warns him about his daughter Jane, whose relationship with Papa Foley is currently distant and strained, possibly being in danger while handling a case that's targeting the client she's representing in court. This leads to Axel returning to Beverly Hills to reunite with his unamused daughter and former partner, Chief Taggart, while teaming up with a younger, straightforward detective and figuring out the whereabouts of Rosewood, who was abruptly kidnapped and vanishes before Foley's arrival. All the while, a shady figure within the Beverly Hills Police Department lurks in the shadows. Surely he can't be the villain, right? Right? So to start off my thoughts about this movie, I'll break it down starting with Eddie Murphy's performance. It is nice to see Mr. Murphy get to move around in an action set environment once again, even though he is a bit restrained in some scenes, obviously because he is much older than he was when he first started this franchise. The humor is pretty hit or miss as expected, though Foley is an endearing presence when he is a bit corny sometimes. Side note, it is comforting to hear Eddie Murphy actually use his real laugh instead of the classic unrealistic laugh everyone knows that he used to do a lot back in the day. The funniest scene was a cameo from a well-known comedian who has a brief back and forth with Foley over code switching, plus some quick smart aleck quips from Foley about Taggart's age, and some cop cars got a good chuckle out of me even though some of these lines were already in the trailers promoting the movie. Nevertheless, Eddie Murphy is the heart of these movies, and it's good to see him getting his head back in the movie-making game. The supporting cast boasts names both old and new. Veteran stars Judge Reinhold as Rosewood, John Ashton as Taggart, Paul Reiser as Friedman, and Bronson Pinchot as Surge all return with abbreviated screen times, and the chemistry between these characters and Foley makes it seem like it was only yesterday when he first arrived at Beverly Hills. There's even some new stars joining this time go around, but the strongest standout to me, and this is probably due to him getting a lot more to do opposite Eddie Murphy, is Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Detective Abbott. Out of the newcomer cast members, he's probably the one that has the most chemistry with leading man Murphy. While the usual franchise beats are still intact, there is something that the other films don't have. Axel Foley being a father, albeit a very vacant presence in his child's life. I haven't seen the beautiful Taylour Paige in many things, so she took some time getting warmed up to for me, but she was also another welcome addition by the end, and I do like the father-daughter relationship building reworking that the film worked on between those two. Kevin Bacon in the role of a shady yet charismatic narcotics cop makes for a smarmy yet credible villain who gets into high gear as the film progresses. Could he possibly be one of the most compelling villains of the franchise? You decide. Other minor tidbits? The action scenes are well done and the driving force of these movies that makes it feel like an 80s action flick. From the car chase sequences to the shootouts. And this huge $100+ million budget probably helps that a great bit. The film has that glow that I see a lot of things Netflix release have, but it works in its favor. If there are any cons that I do have about the movie, it's not many. The script could have used some tweaking in some pivotal parts, and the film's soundtrack gets a bit overwhelming on the nostalgia front for me. Some songs set the mood like the songs that were in previous movies, such as the iconic Axel F theme, which has somehow resurrected that crazy frog character for a promo, dickless and all, while others didn't. With that aside, I present to you my ratings verdict for Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. The film is going to get a 3 out of 5 popcorn buckets on the rating scale. Some script dialogue blemishes aside, it is a mindless blast of fun, and it is easy to see that it's perhaps the movie that had the direction that Eddie Murphy wanted to go with the third Beverly Hills Cop movie. Some lively supporting performances and entertaining action sequences drive this movie home, making it more appealing than its predecessor, which wasn't a hard task to do anyways. In post Mr. Church Eddie Murphy films, this is probably my second favorite movie of his now, but it is hard to beat something more original like Dolomite Is My Name, and that's okay. I'm looking forward to talking about the next Shrek movie when that comes out in 2026, that we know of, and the Donkey spin-off movie, and seeing how they will hold up in their respective franchise, but that's for another episode in the future. Be sure to check this out if you're able to get through an overload of that 80s nostalgia, or if you do love it, bonus points for you. It should be a fun time. That about wraps up my review for this film. Rolling out the review docket this month, you'll see, or hear rather, reviews of The Color Purple 2023 edition, The Bike Riders, which is already available on VOD even though it's hardly been out in theaters for a month as of this recording, and I'll be taking a look back at a beloved animated crossover between a boy genius and a buck-toothed kid with fairies. To stay updated on when these releases come out, be sure to subscribe to the pod if you haven't yet wherever you listen to the show. You can also find me on Twitter, aka X, Instagram, TikTok, and even Letterboxd under the username Pic-a-Flic Pod, that is PICAFLICPOD. Until the next one, thank you all for listening, and I hope you look forward to the next. And this is the Western Wonder, signing out. Peace.
Bye, have a great time.